Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Amanda Lamb. In today's deep dive conversation with WRAL reporter Liz McLaughlin, we're talking about breast implant recall. So more than 500,000 people get breast implants every year, but there is growing research. There could be a link between certain types of implants and cancer. There's a recall right now of certain breast implants impacting thousands of people, including some people right here in the Triangle. Liz, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
So take me back to 2019. The FDA recalled these textured breast implants. What are they and why were they recalled? And who's the manufacturer?
So textured implants have a sandpaper kind of finish, and they're used because of the way that they can adhere to the skin and prevent buildup of scar tissue. So this is the main type of breast implant used for reconstruction. So many women who have these have had breast cancer. They've had a mastectomy or lumpectomy and wanted to have that fixed. So the FDA learned about the link between these types of implants and cancer about a decade ago, but they weren't pulled off the market until a voluntary recall in 2019 at the FDA's request, as more reports and instances of deaths started to emerge in breast implant-associated anaplastic large cell lymphoma. That's a long word there. We say ALCL for short. That's basically a type of immune system cancer, not a breast cancer.
They're made by a company called Allergan, correct?
That's right. Now owned by AbbVie.
So this is traumatic. I mean, a lot of these women have already had breast cancer. Then they find out the implants they've had put in for reconstruction could cause cancer again. How are women responding to this, and are people having these implants removed?
Many of the people with these implants are scared, frankly, especially because many are cancer survivors, like you said, to find out that then this device is put in your body, marketed to make you feel like a woman again, some of the marketing says, could give you cancer, is understandably unnerving. We don't have a clear number of how many women have these implants or have had them removed, but many have struggled with this process that I've spoken with. Many have had surgeries put off because of the pandemic, elective surgeries put off for years. Allergan, the manufacturer, will only cover an implant replacement, not removal. And many women are pretty distrusting of this company to put something back in their body when other products have been linked to cancer. So if they opt for removal, it's out of their own pocket. The FDA doesn't recommend everyone with these implants get them removed because of the additional risks of surgery and anesthesia, especially for those that opted to get implants under the muscle because it's closer to those vital organs. But for some, the risk is higher, and they just don't want to find out if they're going to get cancer. They want them out.
So, and this is a major procedure. I mean, this is major surgery. This is something that people really have to think about. I know you interviewed Dominique Reed. She was one of the people who got them in 2010 after she had a divot in her breast from a tumor that was removed. How did she find out about this recall?
So Dominique Reed lives in Durham and has gone through what she calls a nightmare dealing with this for the past several years. She found out about the recall not from Amelia Aesthetics, the office that put them in, or Allergan, the manufacturer. Instead, a friend told her about it, and then she saw a news article and realized that her implants were on that list. And many other women have found out this way, word of mouth, news stories. Some are still finding out 4 years later.
And that the group that put it in, Amelia Aesthetics, is here in Raleigh. And she said she was having some symptoms that she thought could be breast cancer. And she went to them and said, I want to take them out. And they discouraged her?
That's right. She was experiencing pain, inflammation, swelling. Those are 3 symptoms of ALCL. And I should clarify, the FDA doesn't recommend removal unless experiencing symptoms. And she was. She says that when she reached out to Amelia Aesthetics, it was a night and day experience from getting them in. This is a very lucrative industry. Many women I've spoken with say they felt duped. There's heavy marketing to convince women this is safe. There's little focus on the risks. Their providers, they say, are much more focused on putting them in than dealing with the complications that can occur afterwards, even beyond cancer. When she went in, she said she was shown a PowerPoint presentation that showed a stadium full of women. And then on the next slide, he said, this is everyone with the breast implants you have. Then on the next slide, very few women in the stadium. He said, this is how many will get this cancer. Next slide, very few women. This is how many could die from it. See, it's not that big of a deal, essentially, was what this...
It's pretty disturbing.
PowerPoint was trying to say.
Yeah.
She said that felt dehumanizing, that her concerns, requests to explore all of her options were dismissed, and she felt very scared. She's a single mom with a predisposition to cancer, unsure of what to do. And I should say that we did reach out to Amelia Aesthetics, and they declined multiple requests for interviews.
Well, we will hear more about Reed's story in a few minutes. We'll be back after the break with more from Liz McLaughlin about how this local woman navigated this breast implant recall. Welcome back to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm talking with reporter Liz McLaughlin about a very scary situation, a woman finding out her breast implants may be linked to cancer. So what did Dominique Reed ultimately decide to do?
Despite discouragement, she ultimately decided she didn't want to take the risk of waiting to see if she would develop this cancer. She wanted to get the implants out and the capsule around it removed.
So she had this surgery, and my understanding is she didn't just have one surgery. She had multiple surgeries and had big medical costs. Tell me about all of that.
This whole experience was pretty harrowing, even just to hear about it. She had what she calls red flags leading up to the surgery. She said Amelia Aesthetics misdocumented her procedure on multiple occasions in pre-op appointments, saying she was going to get a replacement and not a removal. So she was really nervous about that, saying, with the people at this place saying the wrong surgery, that made her really nervous. They tried to raise the price by thousands of dollars days before her surgery, she said, and that they told her to keep her bloody bandages on after surgery for 6 weeks. And we spoke with other surgeons that say that's not normal. Amelia Aesthetics, even on their own website, says 3 weeks. So she had major concerns after the surgery. Swelling, a ball had formed. She says those concerns were dismissed. They didn't want her to come back in. After removing the bandages, she said she was horrified at what she saw, frankly, that it looked like she had 4 breasts, and she described her skin as looking melted. And she said she had to fight for her surgeon, Dr. Michelle Roughton, to even speak with her afterwards, that she hadn't planned to come to her post-op appointments. And she actually recorded some of these interactions, and I must say it was really jarring to really hear her concerns be shut down in that way.
And then she did finally go to a different surgeon, correct?
That's right. She ended up getting a second and a third even opinion. Other doctors said something had gone wrong with her surgery. She would need another surgery to fix it. She went to a different provider, said that was a completely different experience, and it was successfully fixed in February. But all in all, she's more than $20,000 out of pocket, had to take off work and be out of commission for weeks for her recovery.
So why doesn't insurance pay for the cost of something like this when it is about getting them out because you have a fear of cancer?
I think a lot of it has to do with the language in the FDA's recall or how they asked Allergan to recall it. So it was a voluntary recall, and they, I think, were concerned that every woman with this would go back for surgery and maybe there would be some deaths from that. It's a cancer, so not everyone that has these implants will get it. And it's a kind of way the risk of getting it versus
the risk of surgery. And also, I read somewhere in your reporting that that putting the breast implants in, they're looking at it as something aesthetic, not something as medically necessary. When if you talk to any breast cancer survivor, it's psychologically necessary for many people to have this done.
It's really heartbreaking. And a number of the women I spoke with said that it really says a lot about how women and women's bodies are valued in this society. And yes, that insurance wouldn't cover a woman who has developed this cancer. And we spoke with a lawyer representing women who are in this position because they got these implants for cosmetic reasons. They're denying their insurance claims to treat this cancer, so to get chemotherapy. And Dominique Reed luckily came up with the money to get her implants removed. Many women, I would argue maybe most, don't have $20,000 lying around to do this, much less expensive cancer treatments for something that was, they didn't know that these implants had that link.
Right, that there was a link. And I know you said the FDA is not suggesting everybody go and get these implants out. Some of the statistics in your reporting, the 2021 European Journal of Breast Implants says the risk is 1 in 355 patients. I think they looked at like 1,100 cases, the FDA said, and there were 60 deaths worldwide from those cases, and it occurs somewhere around the 8 to 10 year mark. I mean, these statistics are still not very comforting. And I know some women have even filed lawsuits. Tell me about that, the class action lawsuits.
Yeah, thousands of patients, not just class action lawsuits, but personal injury lawsuits. I mean, it used to be thought of as a rare cancer. Some of the numbers were 1 in 30,000, but recent data is suggesting the risk is much higher than that. You mentioned that 1 in 355 in the European Journal of Breast Health. I also spoke with a surgeon that specializes in reconstruction, so they mainly use textured implants, and said about 1 in 300 of his patients are reporting that they have it. So that's pretty scary. That's not rare, right?
Right.
And so a lot of people are signing on to this lawsuit. Again, for covering the costs of this, that's not covered by Allergan or by insurance of the removal, and just devastating for some people. I spoke with the lawyer that's representing Dominique Reed and hundreds of other women, and she says she's had clients who died. One woman, mother of an 8 and 10-year-old, 40 years old, she spoke to the day that she died. So this is serious. It's not a joke. It's not. People are dying.
And so people need to really pay close attention. If they have these breast implants, talk to their doctor. Obviously, you're not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. But definitely talk to a medical professional about, what your options are.
And beyond, I think, the plastic surgeon that put your breast implants in, I think going to a primary care doctor's, someone that's specifically looking at this cancer is also a good bet. I mean, but it is, many women are comfortable with keeping them in, monitoring them for symptoms, and exchanging or doing an implant exchange, which is covered for a smooth-walled implant. Now, there is recent data from the FDA that there have been some rare types of cancer associated with other types of breast implants. So it's still,
somewhat of a risk, right? So really talk to your doctor, talk to your insurance company, get all the information you can at the end of the day. Well, Liz, thank you so much for your insight and your reporting on this very important topic. And thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download and making us part of your morning routine. If you like what you're hearing, please rate us on Apple Podcasts or on whatever podcast app you use. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. It's a daily email waiting in your inbox every morning with Triangle news, events, and headlines to get you ready for the day. Sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.
Leave a comment and share this video with your friends. With daily uploads, there will always be a conversation.